If you're waiting to be chosen by a man, by money, by the right opportunity, by some future version of yourself who feels ready, this video is for you. And if that sentence immediately irked you, irritated you, I encourage you to stay right here because there's something in that reaction worth listening to. This video isn't about blaming women, it's not about shaming dependency, and it's definitely not about telling you to just be more confident or step into your feminine energy. This is about a very specific pattern that keeps intelligent, capable, ambitious women small. And it disguises itself as romance, spirituality, and safety. I've discussed the Prince Charming syndrome before in one of my videos, but what is it actually? What it actually is a nervous system strategy. So in this video, I want to break down why waiting feels safer than choosing yourself, why money pressure collapses your self-trust before it ever touches your self-esteem, why feminine energy gets misused to excuse learned helplessness, why tolerating uncertainty is the real initiation most people avoid, and why some trends like decentering men might look like healing but often aren't. So by the end of this video, I don't want you hyped, I want something to wake up inside you. The part of you that already knows you're more capable than the life you're currently tolerating. And if this video triggers you, try to stay receptive. There's information inside tension, truth inside tension. So the Prince Charming syndrome isn't about men. It's about waiting to be rescued instead of authoring your own life. Most people think this shows up as laziness or entitlement. It doesn't. It shows up as waiting until things feel safe, waiting until someone validates you, waiting until you're sure you won't fall, waiting until someone else holds responsibility with you. And it feels responsible, it feels mature, it feels grounded, but underneath it, something else is happening. Prince Charming syndrome is the infantilization of the nervous system, a freeze or submit survival response. Learned dependency dressed up as love, trust, or femininity. It forms when autonomy once felt dangerous, when agency was punished, when provision came with conditions. If you learned early on that safety came from staying agreeable, staying small, staying chosen, your nervous system learned a rule. Don't move first, don't lead, don't risk being wrong alone. So you wait, and waiting becomes your strategy. This is where I want to be very clear. This is not feminine energy. What people sell as feminine receptivity here is often collapsed agency, outsourced safety, permission seeking. True femininity is responsive, not passive. It's sovereign, not frozen. It doesn't need someone else to hold the reins of your life. Waiting isn't softness. Waiting is fear that learned how to sound spiritual. Now let's talk about money, because this pattern becomes brutally obvious under financial pressure. People think worth collapses first. It doesn't. Self-trust collapses first. Under money pressure, the internal dialogue shifts fast. What if I get it wrong? What if I can't handle the consequences? What if I overestimate myself? What if wanting more costs me safety? That's not a lack of intelligence, that's your nervous system scanning for threat. Money doesn't activate identity, it activates survival. And when survival takes the wheel, self-trust erodes. Once self-trust goes, worth follows, because worth without trust feels dangerous. You can believe you're capable on a good day, but under pressure, belief doesn't hold, capacity does. And if you haven't built the capacity to tolerate uncertainty, your system will always reach for a ledge. That ledge might be a partner, a parent, a fallback relationship, a job you hate but understand, a fantasy about one day, maybe an inheritance, anything that lets you avoid standing fully inside your own authority. Here's something people don't like admitting. If someone else holds the purse strings, emotional or financial, you don't have to face the consequences of your choices. You can blame, you can defer, you can stay innocent. And innocence feels safe to a wounded nervous system, but it comes at a cost. When you hand over authority, you also hand over authorship. And then you wonder why your life doesn't feel like it belongs to you. This is why tolerating uncertainty is everything. Becoming a new version of yourself is not inspiring, it's destabilizing. It means not knowing how things will work out, disappointing people, breaking familiar roles, making decisions without guarantees. Most people don't stay small because they lack potential. They stay small because certainty feels like belonging. So they choose the known pain over the unknown life. They stay in roles that feel safe. They follow paths that were told would make them happy and safe. They delay hard conversations, they keep waiting, and then they call it patience or waiting for the right time. This is where fairy tale conditioning quietly messes people up. You're taught that waiting leads to rescue, that if you endure long enough, life will meet you halfway, that destiny arrives, you don't initiate it. But when that story is taken literally instead of symbolically, it creates adults who wait instead of choose. And waiting keeps the inner child in charge. That's why this pattern isn't about confidence, it's about maturity of the nervous system. Adulthood means I choose even if I don't know the outcome. I tolerate the discomfort of being responsible. I trust myself enough to recover if I fall. That's the initiation most people avoid. Now, I want to talk about this trend of decentering men. I've seen it all over TikTok, and for a second, I thought maybe this is women healing their Prince Charming syndrome. But as I looked into it a little further, I noticed that it's actually wounded behavior. I want to be honest, from what I see, this often isn't healing, it's protection. There's a difference between I don't need men to regulate my worth and I need to remove men entirely to feel safe. One is integration, the other is avoidance. Healing doesn't require rigidity. It doesn't require disconnection. It doesn't swing from dependency to emotional exile. If you need to erase something to feel powerful, there's still a wound there. Wounded behavior. Real healing looks like neutrality, choice, freedom, indifference, not reaction. And honestly, I'm open to being challenged on this, but from what I see, a lot of this movement is unprocessed hurt, pain, wearing empowerment language. Anyway, back to the ledge, the Prince Charming. If you feel like you can't let go of the ledge, it's not because you're incapable. It's because your system doesn't trust you yet. You haven't built self-trust. It's also a self-worth issue. And here's the part that matters. Your ego will try to keep you safe. Your ego is like a guard dog, right? It will tell elaborate stories about why now isn't the time, why this is unrealistic, unsafe, why you should go back to what's familiar, why you're asking for too much. Your ego is very protective. It will always try to protect you, but protection is not leadership. And if you let fear decide, you will keep living a life designed for survival, safety, not expression, not sovereignty. You don't let go by jumping blindly. You let go by strengthening your grip on yourself. This is where you have to do the inner work, by building self-trust, by taking responsibility in small, real ways, by proving to your system that you can handle discomfort and survive it, because you are deeply capable. And I want to say this clearly because it matters. Many of the women caught in this pattern are educated, intelligent, capable, ambitious. I was one of them. I had the Prince Charming syndrome pretty bad. Degrees, education don't heal nervous systems. Intelligence doesn't override conditioning. Ambition doesn't cancel survival programming. So this isn't preaching. I'm not preaching. It's recognition. If you've built a life around safety at the expense of truth, if you've been waiting instead of choosing, if you've been calling fear feminine energy, if you've been outsourcing authority to feel secure, nothing is wrong with you. It's just your survival strategy. But something is being asked of you now: to tolerate uncertainty, to trust yourself enough to lead, to stop waiting for permission, and to remember this: everything that ever told you that you couldn't make it on your own was a story your nervous system created to keep you safe, not to keep you free. Your daily affirmation is simple: I am deeply capable. I am deeply capable. I am deeply capable. Keep looping it. Say it, write it, repeat it, comment down below: I am deeply capable. Let your system hear it, because you are. You are deeply capable, and the life you want doesn't require rescue. It requires self-trust, self-worth. And just to add, Prince Charming syndrome, waiting for a rich man, ties directly into the 6 core money wounds I talk about on my channel. I'm not worthy of wealth. I'm bad with money. Money always disappears. Being rich is bad or wrong. I'm not safe until I have a lot of money. Making money is hard. When one of these is running, it quietly shapes how you relate to money, safety, and dependence. And it can repel money without you realizing that's what's happening. If you want clarity on which wound is driving your behavior around money, I have a free money wound quiz. It's genuinely accurate, and it helps you stop moving blindly and start with what's actually going on underneath. Take it if you're ready to see the pattern. I'll leave it all in the description. Thank you so much for watching, sending you love, and I will see you in a jiffy.